It was a long time ago. When I was very young and I was a student, I was working with a research doctor on extraction of collagenase, and he told me to centrifugate something, and I didn't know it was like a strange thing, and I put it in the agitator, and I left for lunch. And when I came, there was full of smoke everywhere, and they thought it was a fire, and I almost got fire, but I didn't know.
Everything is funny there every day, even the relation we have. Every day what we do it with passion, we laugh. And the funny thing is, so many people come to me to work that they know nothing, and they laugh because they don't know nothing about what we're doing. And at the end, it's beautiful because they ended up with a PhD or a master's degree.
Nothing with fire to dry ice. I don't know if I can top that. Pranks? Oh my goodness. No. I don't think, no. I mean, I'm there like, no. That's a good idea though. We should start pranking. Why don't we prank, guys? We're so boring.
And the funniest things was when we were in graduate school and they would make little dry ice bombs out of Eppendorf tubes, and one day the boys, not me, the boys decided to fill up an entire 50 ml conical and put it at the bottom of a dishwashing bucket, and it blew out all the water and the conical tube got stuck in the tile. Nothing to do with real science though.
Yeah, the biology is a really loving thing, and it's the things that keeps changing. It's rather being constant. So what makes changing is a fascinating thing to figure out how it happens.
The funniest thing I saw happen was when a colleague was boiling some water, or boiling some DNA samples in water, forgot about them and set off the fire alarm for the entire building. Everyone evacuated.
Mine's not that funny.
Sorry.
Mine's something I did silly on myself. So I was doing some sequencing runs and I was doing full plates of sequencing and they were failing, trying to figure out what I did wrong. And here for the PCR cleanup, I was making 70% ethanol backwards.
We had a brand new postdoc in the lab when I was a grad student. We're really looking forward to her come. She ordered her pipettes and then autoclaved them all and melted every one of them. really sad.
I think that's a biohazard incident, but it was funny to us that how it got the spread all over the place and how university immediately, get on us, and they came and they have to clean up everything and make us to clean up so this doesn't happen. So we kind of thought that was funny, but maybe it's not. So
Funny, I don't know. I always have a hard time remembering the funny stuff. But honestly, I still think the funniest thing that ever happened, it really wasn't that funny, but I can't believe it happened. I had a tube and I was putting it into a rack in a freezer. And this tube dropped through 2 layers of freezer racks and into a centrifuge that was spinning below it that had a hole this big, just about the size of a quarter. And it went through 2 racks and took out every tube that was in that spinning centrifuge. If I had tried to drop the tube in, and my poor colleague, it took out 3 days of her work, and it was so awful that we laughed. We just laughed. We couldn't believe that we had done this, and it was like, well, start over. That's why they call it research, because you redo it all the time.
When I was first working, there was this guy, he was leaning against the bench in the hot lab, and there was sequencing gels running behind him. And the tank, he didn't realize it, but it was leaking. So he got up and he said, "Oh, my bottom's wet." And we were like, "Oh my goodness." So we got the Geiger counter and we sort of scanned his bottom, and it was screaming hot. So we're like, "You've got to strip here now." So we had to strip all his clothes off, and he had to go around in a lab coat. And then that Christmas we do like a Secret Santa, and his Secret Santa present was a rubber bottom with radioactive tape on it.
Most funny thing is when in 1992, and when I generate a knockout mice, and then when we send it out to Columbia University, Eric Kandel's lab, and then it turned out to be the knockout mice escape. And then we thought that mice must be very smart. We knock out a stupid gene.
Funniest thing, which wasn't funny at the time, two things, is when all my cell cultures died. It wasn't funny at all, but I really felt a big sort of emotional loss when that happened. Then the other thing was when my PET immunohistochemistry results turned out to be false positives rather than true positives, but they were so good that my supervisor didn't believe me they were false positives. And he still wanted to pursue them, but I said, no, I've proven it. But he said it was the best false positive he'd ever seen. But it was funny, although it was quite sad.
It happened pretty long time ago, but still I think it is very funny that I got publications and degree and everything just because one, mistake of polymerase in PCR, and two, my own mistake when I forgot to add magnesium to reaction.
Sometimes we just, it happens that we inverted probes or we inverted samples, we just had funny results, but
or prepared coffee in the -80 freezer.
yeah, all of those, yeah. Just use the scientific stuff for other things.
One big funny thing is that we got a fire, but nobody knows the cause because I did. But so far nobody knows. I didn't say anything. Why it happened is that I actually treated alcohol on the bench, and then another person is nearby, looks like put a fire somehow, and then I took nearby my alcohol stuff. Then it's kind of framed on alcohol. Then it's not on my bench. Actually, it went out over my bench to another bench. So it was funny. That person, very surprised. She was very surprised. Why I got the fire? There's no fire. So, but I didn't say anything. I know I did. So it was already over 20 years ago. Now I think it's time is over. So that's fine.
We try to avoid some big pressure. Then we try to release by ourselves.
Yeah. I can think of an exciting thing like making a mouse model for a human disease and the mouse having similar features, similar symptoms as a human disease that would be, or a zebrafish model. Exciting things in the lab. I can't really offhand think of a very funny accident right now.
Once there was a technician working in the lab and she accidentally sprayed some isotope on her pants. And she came up with the idea that to wash her pen in the lab because there was nobody in the lab. So she washed it, and then because it's wet, so before she go home, she put her pen in the microwave because it's wet. So she want to make it dry, so she microwave her pen. And well, sure, her pen eventually dry, but when she got to put on her pen and trying to go out of the security, she figured out that all her idea all melted. And the security asked her what happened. And then she has to explain to the security, well, she put her pants in the microwave. And it was funny.
Well, in my lab, funniest thing. Not exactly, not happened yet maybe. Maybe I did not know.
I guess recently we had a lab Olympics. Just different teams, see how you can pipette and cap samples, label samples, and see, team effort, but see who does it faster in a team setting. It was a lot of fun. So.